In terms of a Jadon Sancho swap deal, I do think signing Raheem Sterling does improve Manchester United's squad, but really only because Ten Hag doesn't seem to want to play Sancho at all, leaving us with only Antony after Rashford, Ahmad and Garnacho. I think the signing of Sterling allows Ten Hag to use Rashford in a narrower position on the opposite flank, which I think is going to allow Rashford to get into better goal scoring positions, having a starting position between the lines, and like James Maddison did for Tottenham on the weekend, make this run from the half space in behind the oppositions, because he just doesn't seem to have the decisiveness to fully utilise his explosive pace and drive directly down the outside, as he always seems to be checking back. Whilst Ahmad the majority of the time is going to be the starter from the right side, sometimes there are going to be games where he struggles to make an impact or is just inconsistent with his play, as we saw in the first half against Brighton. And particularly against sides who are going to control possession and leave United relying on quick transitioning attacks in order to create chances, such as maybe against the likes of Arsenal, City, Liverpool, and maybe even Tottenham, having Xerxes as a false nine with Sterling from the left, Rashford from the right, and Bruno Fernandes, Mainu and Ugarte in midfield could be a better way to set up the attack in this tactical situation, compared with having Garnacho or Ahmad on the right, just because I think Sterling and Rashford, even if their finishing is very inconsistent, are both very good at taking advantage of space in behind the back line, with those darting diagonal runs in between the fullback and centre back, and with Xerxes' deeper movement likely dragging a centre back out of the back line, as well as Bruno Fernandes' ability to thread through balls and release attackers with long passes in behind. I think Ten Hag has the perfect tactical setup in order to utilise Sterling and Rashford on the counter in these kind of wide forward roles. But is Sancho for Sterling a good deal for United? Well, in this video I'm going to be answering 5 different questions. Number 1, player for player, forget money and the Ten Hag situation, who is a better player, Sancho or Sterling? What can we learn from both Sancho and Sterling's FBref reports? Is Sterling the right type of winger for Ten Hag from a tactical point of view? And should Ten Hag consider giving Sancho more opportunities in the first team if he doesn't leave in this window? Well, before I get into those videos, if you want to check out the new season jerseys, go over to Jersey FIFA. They've got retro, club and international jerseys as well. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you'll get a discount. A link will be in my Instagram bio, which I will leave linked in the description. So I'll start off with the first question, Sancho or Sterling? Well, if you look at United's squad dynamics, you'd probably want a wide attacker of Sancho's style, compared with Sterling, as with Garnacho and Rashford we already have 2 inside forwards who primarily are going to be looking to break in behind the opposition's back line, whereas Sancho operates between the lines, which I think is what United need, considering that we struggle most against compact and deep defensive shapes. Sancho's intricacy and link play in congested areas could significantly improve United's ability to progress the ball centrally between the lines, whilst his interplay can also be utilised out wide, where you could argue that Sancho's vision, close ball control and 1 and 2 touch play against a deep defensive block is going to be a lot more effective at progressing the ball into dangerous positions than a direct running in behind the back line of Sterling or Rashford. The problem with both Sancho and Sterling is their inconsistency. However, out of the two, if you ask me which is likely to have a better season at Manchester United, I'd have to say Sterling, as I just can't see Sancho recovering his career at United whilst Ten Hag is there. Sterling is like Rashford, very 50-50. I can see him scoring some important goals, but also putting in some absolutely terrible performances as well. But overall, I think Sterling in your squad, mostly from the bench, is going to score more goals than Sancho and help you pick up more points, and I think the stats reflect this. If we compare Sterling and Sancho's FBref reports from the last 365 days in all competitions, we can see that Sterling is clearly the better goal scorer, having a significantly higher non-penalty XG and non-penalty goals rate than Sancho. He's not hitting extraordinary output levels, but he's sitting around a 75th percentile for both, which is fairly decent, but as you can see, Sancho offers very little goal scoring threat, with his effectiveness instead being in deeper areas when progressing the ball into chance creating positions, and we can see this from his passing section in his FBref report, which shows that he is a fantastic ball progressor via both his passing and his carries, whilst also being a reliable retainer of possession as well, whereas Sterling's FBref report shows a player who isn't a great retainer or progressor of the ball via his passing, and is significantly better at progressing the ball via his carries, and this is a fundamental difference between these two players, with Sancho being more of a central attacking midfielder than Sterling, who is more of a wide forward. Sancho specialises in the middle and final third when linking play in tight spaces, whereas Sterling is either looking to break in behind the back line from the middle third or attacking the back post when inside of the box. Sancho's ball carrying and dribbling metrics are without doubt superior to Sterling's, even though they may be slightly inflated by the fact that he only played half a season last year and he did play in the Bundesliga with Dortmund, but I've always felt that at United in the Premier League, Sancho lacks the intensity in his game, and even though Sterling is a lot less controlled and more erratic than Sancho, I think that burst of energy he has is exactly what Sancho is missing. While Sterling is also a pretty good ball carrier and dribbler as well, he is more prone to losing possession when attempting a dribble than Sancho, who I think would have been the perfect Pep Guardiola winger from 2021 to 2023, the Bernardo Silva, Grealish or Mahrez type, not as quick and direct as the likes of Savinho, Doku and even Sterling himself, but their technical ability would ensure that Guardiola's side are able to retain possession more often, and therefore sustain attacks in the opposition's half for longer. And this is where the stylistic differences between the two turn tactical, as I think in Ten Hag's system Sterling is the far better option. First of all, I don't think Sancho suits an aggressive pressing side, particularly playing as a wide player in a midfield four. He just doesn't have the tenacity, positional understanding or work ethic in his game, with even Rashford showing recently that he can definitely do the defensive work when required. Sterling out of possession when pressing high and tracking runners when deep is a far better option in one of those wide positions than Sancho. Now in possession, I do think that United could use a player like Sancho who could operate between the lines and just knit play together a bit more effectively, because United do struggle to play through the centre and break down a deep compact defensive shape. However, given the signing of Joshua Zirkzee, I think tactically Sterling probably is a better fit, as like Rashford he can provide those forward diagonal movements ahead of Zirkzee's deeper movement. Also, given that Ten Hag does like to use a left back in a deeper, more inverted role, whether it's Dalot, Martinez or Harry Amas, Sterling once again seems like a better fit on that left side than Sancho. And this is because I think Sancho without a doubt needs an overlapping fullback behind him, or at least someone on that side who can provide over and underlapping runs ahead of him, as I just don't think he has the acceleration to be a significant threat when isolating his fullback in a 1v1 in the channel. And so that's why I think Sancho is a lot more effective being on the inside of the fullback between the lines rather than receiving the ball on the outside in the channel. And so given that United's left winger is likely going to be a player sitting on the outside of the fullback, high and wide in Ten Hag's 3-2-5, transitioning into a 3-1-6, Sterling once again seems like he's better suited to that role.